Hi everybody. I forgot to record this webinar, so I'm just going to go back through it and kind of talk about the same things I talked about. You won't have the benefit of having your colleagues asking questions, but the questions really had to do with, I'll try to go over those as I go through this. The webinar on the Doctoral Learner webinar here, I began by asking how everybody was doing, because these are unprecedented times. And some people were talking about struggling in the online situation. All of a sudden, they're teaching online. There were some counselors and kindergarten teachers. But everybody was healthy. And from day to day, we talked about how that changes. So I did want to begin by acknowledging, I understand these are unprecedented times. And I admire you in the program and in your daily lives, working to get things together. Anything I can do to help you through this class, I'm here for that. I talked about the assignments. We are on week 5, the literature review, and this is, I said, the first real. This is going to be part of what your project will be at the end. The ability to go through literature and find literature that supports your topic. So you're looking for appropriate sources, and you are going to use the Capella Library, looking for at least 5 peer-reviewed journal articles. So it's a good opportunity to get introduced to the Capella Library. A literature report tells you what the literature selected about your problem. So we talked about what issue you're going to use for your project, because this literature will be on the issue that you're thinking about right now your project's going to be on. It's not an annotated bibliography. This is what an annotated bibliography is. You give the reference and a couple of sentences that summarize it. This is great for taking notes, but it's not what you're doing here. You are doing a literature review. A literature review is a narrative, and this is just something I clicked off the internet here of a sample of what a literature review, a narrative. And I wanted to point out this right here. Here's one resource, another resource. There's 3 resources right there. That's called synthesis. These 3 resources all share this idea. And notice there are no quotations in here. It's all paraphrase. Paraphrase is much preferred. That allows you to synthesize common ideas. So that's one thing I talked about. The literature is going to be a narrative, and it's going to find the literature that deals with your topic, and it's also, if you can synthesize ideas, that's going to be a great step for you. What is the problem of practice? We talked about it has to be something you can implement in your workplace and something that you can have control over. So there are some things that you don't have control over. I don't like the fact that my school was underfunded, the inequity of funding from the state. But in my action research project, I couldn't do anything about that outside my locus control. There are things I can do in my life as a professional and a person and a parent that I can use to help impact that, but not my action research project. It has to be something that's within your locus of control and that you can do in your workplace. And a lot of you, we've been trading ideas on through the discussions there. And it should match your specialization, and it could be a curriculum question. I always like to look at what's going on in my classroom or in my educational setting or performance-rated issue that I can do something about. Now, this is from the course, the classroom, the literature review assignment. For this assignment, you would develop a condensed literature review on a topic you choose, and that topic should be the one that you think you're going to do your project on. That can change. Nothing's written in stone. So you're going to find research in the Capella Library. And here's what's going to be in it. The title page, you put the topic here on the title. Adult Education in the 21st Century could be the title. The introduction, you introduce it. You give an overview of what's going to be included in the paper. Now, the introduction is not the abstract. The abstract, this paper doesn't require an abstract. That goes and it tells the major findings of the paper. This kind of overview is what's going to be going through the paper. Then the body of your paper, the overview, and how does it relate to your specialization? So that's those parts of the literature review writing. The heart of the literature review is, of course, the literature review itself. You're going to have a minimum of 5 references from peer-reviewed journal articles. That comes from the Capella Library databases. And you are this week in the course working on critical thinking. That's the same thing here. So you are going to look for how they present similar contrasting ideas, but you're basically finding these 5 articles that inform the reader about the topic that you've chosen, and that topic is one you think you're going to use for that. The conclusion synthesizes what you found above, and then on the references page, that separate page, and it has 5 different scholarly peer-reviewed journals. Now, linked from your course is the template to use, and all you have to do is put overview here, put your chosen topic here, adult education in the 20th century, and then these are all level 1 headings. They're in the middle, they're bolded. So if you just use the template and put these terms in there, your paper will follow that outline. So the literature review is going to be just a summary of the research that you found. So basically that's what I went through. And some of the topics that students were talking about doing, learners were talking about doing, was PBIS, how to implement that. One was working on trauma. Another had special education students required to take the standardized test. Another was looking at the feedback classroom teachers get and may not be using correctly. So there are all kinds of different topics. The neat thing about this literature review is it is exactly what you're going to be writing for your project. It's a good start on that. It also is going to allow you to look at literature that will give you other ideas to change or readjust or to rethink what you're doing. It is a process of questioning and a process of research that you're going to go through for the next few months as you look for the project topic. So this literature review, and by the way, I'm going to give oral feedback on this, just like I'm doing now. I'll be saying, okay, I like what you did here. Did you consider this here? And just to have a little conversation with you as you go through the literature review. So it'll look just like this when you have your paper here. And I'll just be saying, this looks good. I like this. It gives clues. So that's coming up this week. Hope this has been helpful. Hey, if you want to call and talk to me about this, don't hesitate. Email. Let's continue the conversation.